Movie Holics!
What's up, guys? Kyler Wilson here, and this is going to be a little different than normal. Basically, in summation, you all know that me and Monica do the longer form content, the before, the after, and the after, and that people seem to enjoy it. However, I've been getting requests from multiple sources asking for a shorter, spoiler-free review on stuff. So I'm going to test this out for a few episodes and see if people dig it. And if they do, I'll continue to do them. And if they don't, then it'll just go the way of the Western, right? So let's get right into it. So I figure the first movie that I would kind of latch onto here is Star Wars, since it's the big hot talking topic right now, and you probably at this point have already seen what I've got to say about Star Wars, but I figured this would be a good starting point, and then I've got two other ones scheduled that we'll do basically back to back, and those will be a little newer. So here's the thing about Star Wars. I'm really torn on it. There's a lot of really good things about it, and there are a lot of what I would consider bad things about it. I'm gonna run through a brief synopsis for you guys, just so you have an idea, of exactly what the movie is if you haven't seen it yet. And then we'll kick it off. In a nutshell, this movie is about the quest to find Luke Skywalker. Everybody's after him. The First Order, the Resistance, they're all after Luke Skywalker. You don't really know why he goes missing, and I'll save that for go look at the spoiler content that we've already put out. So here's some of the things I liked. I mean, visually, it's spectacular. I mean, it looks amazing. It's clearly the best filmed Star Wars movie that we've ever received. And for the most part, it's very well acted. The new crew that they got, the new actors, I should say, did an amazing job. I'll get to the old actors here in a second. So my biggest pet peeve, well, it's probably tied as my biggest pet peeve, the fan service and the correlation to New Hope. Now, people will go, Kyler, every Star Wars movie is similar. Look at Return of the Jedi. It ends in a Death Star blowing up. Okay, well, here's the thing. This movie mirrors A New Hope so freaking drastically. There are specifics that mirrors A New Hope, and it's just like, come on, guys. What are you doing? Why are you making the same movie? And people will say, because they wanted to give the fans, which is my next problem, they wanted to give the fans fan service. They wanted to give them a movie they knew the fans would enjoy. Here's the thing. I hate fan service. I can't stand it. I don't like it. Easter eggs are fine when they're done tastefully, when you can hide them without having a big sign pointed at it saying, look at me! Look at me! I hate fan service. Because the whole point, you have to understand with me, the whole point of a movie is to take you out of reality, right? It's to make you not think about the movie. But if you're constantly throwing fan service at my face, I'm constantly being reminded that we're in a movie. You're just appealing to the fans. And people will rail on me for that, and that's totally fine. You guys can have your opinion, and I can have mine. I'm just saying, for me, it's not enjoyable to look at a bunch of fan service. I wish it was, but it's just not. My least favorite character in this movie is Kylo Ren. Now, a lot of people, again, are going to be like, what? That's my favorite character. And I loved the character. I loved the look of the character, the sound of the character, right up until he took that helmet off and he became the biggest, whiniest bitch on the planet. Some people will say that this is what makes him interesting, that it gives him a more dynamic character arc than, say, Darth Vader. And I completely understand that. But there was a way to do it where he didn't come off as a petulant child. One note about Finn is I'm really confused why he's so happy and why he's the comedic relief in this movie. I mean, he kind of shares the stage with BB-8, but he's really like the comedy character, and he's the one that is supposed to be, in my eyes, he's supposed to be the tortured soul, the person. He left the First Order because the First Order was having him commit atrocities against humanity, and he decided he didn't want to do that. He'd seen, women and children and old people, and I'm sure dogs and cats everywhere getting slaughtered at this village, and he ends up becoming like this happy-go-lucky, lighthearted, well, yay, we're fighting the First Order kind of character, and I just didn't understand that. He did great. His acting was awesome. I just didn't understand the choice of character. And I don't know if that has to do with the writing or the directing, or if that was a Finn choice, or if that or a Boyega choice, I should say, or an Abrams choice. Who knows? But it was something that stuck out to me like a sore thumb. So now I'll talk about the old crew and the acting that they did. The thing is, so Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford through most of this film. There are like 3 to 5 moments that I can think of off the top of my head where I was like, that's Han Solo. Now, I'm not expecting to get the same old Han Solo that we had way back when, because, you know, clearly this movie takes place 30 years after the events of Jedi. So we should have some character growth in Han Solo. He shouldn't be that young hotshot. He should be an older, little more wise person. But he still should have character traits of Han Solo, and I only got to see that a handful of times, and I was slightly disappointed by that. Otherwise, he did all right. Now, Carrie Fisher, on the other hand, I never saw Leia in her, not once. I wish I did. I mean, people are complaining on the internet right now. She took to Twitter because people said that she was ugly and all this stuff. I'm not gonna say anything like that. All I'm saying is, she was hired to be Princess Leia or General Leia, and I didn't see that character. Not once. And that was another distracting thing, is anytime Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher were on screen together, I was just like bored. I just wanted to skip it. Like, they had no chemistry on screen. It was like one character says a line, the other character says a line. One character says a line, the other character says a line. And that was their dynamic range on screen, and it was just not very good. Now to drop the bomb. When the first trailer came out, way back when, the very first like 30-second teaser where we got to see the Millennium Falcon for the first time and everybody was losing their shit because the satellite dish had changed, I said it then and I got reamed for it. And I'm going to say it now, and I'm probably going to get reamed for it. The trailer did not look like Star Wars to me. It looked like a big budget sci-fi film. This movie, other than the fact that it's got Jedi, well, kind of, Force users, they talk about Jedi, Luke's in it at some point, it doesn't feel like Star Wars. Here's the thing, say what you will about the prequels. I'm not here to defend them, even though, like, I like the prequels because they're Star Wars, but I clearly recognize the original trilogy as being better than the prequels, and this movie is better than the prequels as well. But all 6 of those films seemed like Star Wars. This movie just has the Star Wars name. I said it when I was talking to Jack and Terrence. This seems like really high-budget fan fiction. The thing about the first 6 films is they all seem like they came from the same mind of one person, George Lucas. And again, like the prequels or not, like what he did with the original trilogy or not, it all felt like it came from one person. This is the one film that does not even remotely feel like Star Wars to me. It, like, other than the blatant fan service in your face, that's the only thing that felt like Star Wars. It's just not what I was looking for in a film. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to admit that they just followed that same, like, typical blockbuster formula in this film. And the other 6 films just did not do that. This was very easy to watch, which is good, but it's not what I wanted in a Star Wars film. They went the safe route. They made a blockbuster. They're going to make a buku of money, and everybody's going to tell me I'm wrong. And that's totally fine. I'll sit over here in a corner by myself with planes, trains, and automobiles. That being said, I still had fun with the movie. I still think you should see it in the theaters because it's definitely worth the watch, which brings me to my next point. I'm going to start assigning a rating system here on this little segment, this spoiler-free, mostly, segment, and this movie is going to get a D. For definitely worth a watch. Basically, I'm sick of everybody's like generic rating system, so I decided to kind of go against the grain. A is absolutely terrible. B is barely watchable. C is can't love it, can't hate it. D is definitely worth a watch. And F is freaking fantastic. So there you go. That's my rating system. Guys, what'd you think about this video? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and SoundCloud. Go to movieholics.net. Leave us a question there. We got our 200th video coming up. Please leave us a question so that we can answer it in our 200th video. And that's all I got, guys. I love you all dearly, and I'll see you next time. Deuces.